Hello. In this short video, I want to take a look at what has been included in the new 0.2.0 release of the Cake for Rider plugin. So let's go ahead and jump in. So hot on the heels of the initial release, Nils has been busy fixing a few things and adding some new functionality into the plugin. So I want to take a look at some of those. So you'll find full details of the release in the release notes section of the Cake Rider repository on GitHub. And if you go to the marketplace on JetBrains, you'll obviously see that there is a new released version as of a couple of days ago. What we're going to do is we're going to go into Rider, and if we go to File and then Settings, and then we look in Plugins, and we will look in the Installed section, we'll obviously see that there is now an update available for the Cake for Rider plugin. So let's go ahead and get that updated. And with that done, I'll just click Save. So that's now installed. Now, one of the first things that is included in this release, so behind me while this is updating, I have got a solution open that is the one that I did in the last video. So it's a very, very basic solution. It's just got a .NET Core project, if I remember correctly. And in there, I also added a cake file just for testing things out. So while that's opening again, let's go ahead and open that solution one more time. So one of the first things that Nils has added, and this is going to be the first time that I've seen it, is that there should now be an icon for a cake file. Yes, there is. So you'll now see that any cake script that I've got over here now has the cake icon beside it. So rather than being kind of an anonymous file, that cake script is now clearly identified as being a cake script. So that's obviously quite cool. I like that because it makes it much easier to identify files in the Solution Explorer. So I love that addition. The other thing I wanted to mention was that if we were to go up here and look at one of these configurations, now there was a slight bug. So if in the initial release, if you, for instance, used a different entry cake file, so the default is kind of build.cake, but if you had changed this to recipe.cake as an example, applied it and okayed it, the next time you came into the project, it would have reverted back to the original value. So Nils has fixed that. So if you do use a custom name here as an entry point, then that will be persisted and that will be rehydrated once Rider restarts. Now, the other thing that you'll notice here is that in the previous release, there was really only the top three things that you could change here. You could change the script path, the entry task, and the verbosity. But now there is a section here for custom arguments. So if you have to pass in additional arguments, maybe you take, I don't know, to try to think of an example here, but maybe you take some information about how you want to publish things, or how you want to create a build for things, or how you want to do various different operations that can happen within a build script. Typically, they are controlled one of three ways. It's either by environment variables on the system that the build is being run on. It is as a entry in the cake.config file, or you can pass them in directly to Cake itself. So if you want to do that as part of your run configurations, then you can absolutely do that now. So in here, you could pass in, for example, argument A, and then equals argument A, I was trying to say, and then a value. So you can save that now into your run configurations, and they'll be available whenever you run that configuration, obviously. So that is one of the big features that's included in this one. One of the other things that I wanted to look at was in the top level settings for the Cake plugin. So if we go into settings again, and we go down into build, execution, and deployment and look under Cake, then there are some additional settings in here in terms of enabling where the Cake scripts are found. So previously, it was only possible to kind of control where the tasks, or how the tasks were identified, but now it should be possible. There we go. So now within the subsection for the Cake settings, you can control the search paths. So where should the plugin look for the cake scripts. So maybe you store them at a higher level out with the solution, or maybe you have it within a custom folder that's more, and you want to control exactly where that's found, then you can absolutely do that. Now, the one thing that's included here is that by default, Cake uses a tools folder. So if there are Cake scripts in there, they might come from additional add-ins or plugins, or however, there may be Cake scripts in there, and you probably don't want those found as part of the plugin because they're not part of your build necessarily. So by default, there's an exclude pattern here that says don't include anything that's in a tools folder. But if there are other folders that within your solution that you don't want to be searched, then you can absolutely add them in here. And then you can also provide specific paths to where to look for the cake scripts. The other one, this was already available in the previous release, but I don't think I highlighted it. So if you want to control which cake runner that you're using as part of your plugin, so whether you're using the .NET Global Tool version, or whether you're using the .NET Framework version, or whether you're using the .NET Core version, then you can control the name of the assembly. And if there are differences between the name of the assembly based on whether it's Windows or whether it's a POSIX system, then you can absolutely control that as well. So those were the main things within the release. There were some tidy up elements in terms of documentation, and there was also an addition for checks for deprecate APIs in terms of the supported version of Rider that the plugin targets. So that was kind of some build-related work that Nils did as part of this release. So some great improvements. Like I say, I personally really like the icon being attributed to the .cake file. So I know Nils has got plans for some additional functionality. So if you've got any questions, be sure to reach out. Create an issue on the Cake Rider plugin, Cake Rider repository, if you have a problem or you want to see a feature added into the plugin. So that's it for now. Any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Gep13 on Twitter. And like I say, thank you for trying out the plugin, and all credit goes to Nils. I'm just here to highlight some of the things that were added. So thank you very much.